Liverpool Football Club. The name carries a certain magic. 6 European Cups, countless legends, moments etched in football history. Pulling on that red shirt is supposed to mean you've joined the elite, the best of the best. And in the summer of 2013, Aly Cissokho joined that club. Yes, that Aly Cissokho. The French left-back with the physique of a sprinter, the hairline of a geography teacher, and the crossing accuracy of a blindfolded archer. But to be fair, this was Liverpool in that strange limbo between 2005 and 2015. A decade that gave us Fernando Torres and Luis Suarez. But also Milan Jovanovic, Andy Carroll and Paul Konchesky. One week you got world-class football, the next week you were watching a transfer window panic buy, trying his best to keep up. Cissokho didn't arrive with thousands of fans waiting for him outside the airport. Just a quiet loan move from Valencia while Jose Enrique was injured. A stopgap, a fill-in. But somehow, in one of Liverpool's most thrilling seasons in recent history, Aly Cissokho found himself in the thick of it. So, in this story, we'll look at how he got there, what happened while he was there, and what happened next. Aly Cissokho. Great on paper, different in reality. Before we ever saw Aly Cissokho bombing up the touchline at Anfield, his football CV looked like it belonged to a man destined for the top. France international? Check. Spells at Porto, Lyon and Valencia? Check. A career spent at big-name clubs in big-name leagues? Check. But to appreciate the irony, you have to rewind. Cissokho's journey started at Hambourg-Guignon in France. He had as much hype as a queue for the post office, as much chance to be in glowing headlines as a burnt piece of toast making the cover of Good Food magazine, and no clips of him dribbling past 7 defenders to go viral on early YouTube. What he did have, however, was pace. And not your average, always quick pace. The man can sprint like he was late for the last bus home. It was enough to make scouts take notice. In January 2009, Porto came calling. Obviously, Porto are like the Hogwarts of European football. They take young players, wave a magic wand, and before you know it, they're worth triple the price. Cissokho slotted straight into a team full of Champions League regulars, and in just half a season, helped them to a League and Cup double. Not bad for a player who'd been in Ligue 1 6 months earlier. Then came the moment that should have changed everything. A €15 million move to AC Milan that summer. It was agreed, it was announced, and then it collapsed in one of the strangest transfer sagas in recent history. The official reason? A dental problem flagged up in his medical. A set of teeth cost him a move to one of Europe's biggest clubs. You can't make it up. Somewhere out there is a sliding doors version of history where Cissokho is whipping in crosses for Zlatan at the San Siro. Instead, Lyon swooped in and took him to France. They were still one of Europe's top sides, fresh off a run in Ligue 1 dominance and Champions League deep runs. Cissokho became a regular starter, making over 130 appearances in 3 seasons. He wasn't flashy, but he was dependable. The kind of left-back managers love because they know exactly what they're getting. In 2010, his consistency earned him the ultimate nod, a call-up to the French national team. He made his debut, and as it turned out, his only appearance, in a friendly against Norway. 1 cap. But still, that's one more than 99% of professional footballers will ever get. By 2012, Valencia wanted him. Spain was a different challenge. Faster wingers, trickier dribblers, and a league dominated by 2 giants. But Cissokho slotted in and played regularly in La Liga, even getting more Champions League experience under his belt. At this point, everything about him screamed safe bet. He had experience in 3 of Europe's top leagues. He played against elite opposition. He held his own in the Champions League, and he'd worn his national colours. So when, in the summer of 2013, Liverpool needed cover at left-back, bringing in Aly Cissokho made total sense. On paper, it was perfect. On grass, under the Anfield lights. It really should have been. When Liverpool announced the loan signing of Aly Cissokho in August 2013, he absolutely looked the part. As I have previously mentioned, he was a France international, spells at Porto, Lyon, Valencia. Strong, athletic, experience. This was no untested kid plucked from obscurity. This was a left-back who'd faced Messi, Ronaldo, and Champions League knockout ties. Liverpool needed him too. Jose Enrique was injured, and with the club aiming for a top 4 push, they couldn't afford a gaping hole at left-back. So when he came from Valencia, a ready-made solution. On paper, perfect. But football isn't played on paper, and as soon as Cissokho started playing, it became clear to me this wasn't going to be the seamless fit his resume suggested. Liverpool in 2013-14 were electric. The attack was flowing through the triple S, Suarez, Sturridge and Sterling. Gerrard was dictating from deep. Jordan Henderson was running through brick walls. Even the fullbacks were expected to join in the chaos going forward. Cissokho was not quite on that wavelength. Defensively he was alright, strong in the tackle, quick enough to keep up with most wingers. But when Liverpool poured forward and the ball found its way to his feet in the final third, the end product was anybody's guess. Sometimes a cross found its target, sometimes it sailed into the cop, sometimes it barely left the ground, he never quite knew. His first touch left a lot to be desired, and it made you question whether Cissokho respectfully won the opportunity to play for Liverpool by buying a certain amount of cereal boxes. He wasn't lazy, he wasn't disinterested, he just didn't have the attacking sharpness the rest of the team thrived on. In a squad that felt united in style and rhythm, Cissokho was the one player who seemed slightly out of step, much like Paul Konchesky or Christian Poulsen before him. Still, he did play his part. 19 Premier League appearances that season, a steady presence when called upon, and incredibly, he was part of one of Liverpool's most thrilling title challenges in modern memory. It all came so close. The winning streak, Gerrard's slip against Chelsea, the collapse at Crystal Palace. If those last few games had gone differently, Cissokho would have had a Premier League winner's medal in his collection. Imagine that! But as the season ended without silverware, it was clear the loan had run its course. Great on paper, different in reality. L'habit ne fait pas le moine. The robe doesn't make the monk. In other words, just because you look the part doesn't mean you are the part. When Aly Cissokho left Liverpool in 2014, the story could easily have ended there. A short-lived loan spell at a great club which could be remembered only by the memes and the what-ifs. But his career didn't stop. Far from it. He signed for Aston Villa, where he actually found some stability. Over 50 appearances across several seasons, he played his part in a team that, while never pulling up trees, still gave him consistent Premier League minutes. He even managed to pop up with a goal for Villa, something he never quite managed at Liverpool. There were loan spells too, including a return to Porto and a stint with Olympiakos in Greece, before his career took him further afield to Turkey. At Yeni Malatyaspor and Antalyaspor, he became one of those dependable veterans you can plug into a side and know what you're going to get. No fuss, no headlines, just solid work. But what's maybe more fascinating is where he went after that. In 2021, at 34 years old, Cissokho moved to Thailand to join Lampfun Warriors. For many European players, that kind of move would scream semi-retirement. But not for him. He didn't just turn up for the paycheck, he became club captain and helped lead them to a promotion from the second tier in 2022. That's not a glamorous Champions League medal, but for the fans there and for him, it was every bit as real an achievement. In 2024, he was still going, this time with Myeongdong United in the Thai League One. He even scored a late winner against Chiang Rai United, showing that even deep in his 30s, he still had those moments of impact left in him. And as of 2025, he's back again with Lanthan Warriors. Proof that his love for playing hasn't dried up. What really strikes me though, is how he's spoken about his time at Liverpool since. Cissokho has said openly that he has no regrets, that wearing the red shirt was an honour, and that he looks back on it with pride. And honestly, I respect that. Yes, his Liverpool spell wasn't perfect. Yes, he never quite looked like the missing piece in a team that came so close to glory. But he still played 19 times in a season, where Liverpool were within touching distance of the title. That's more than most of us could dream of, and for him, it clearly means something. After Liverpool, he didn't vanish. He carved out a career across Portugal, Greece, Turkey and Asia. And while his time at Anfield might not be the headline act of his journey, it was a chapter he valued, and one that shaped the player and the man he became afterwards. And there we have it. When you look back on Aly Cissokho's career as a whole, it's striking how his journey before and after Liverpool appeared from a distance to be a steady, even respectable march through Europe's big leagues. On paper, he had the credentials, a France cap, trophies in Portugal, starting roles at Lyon and Valencia, consistent professional status. That resume screamed Liverpool material, and yet his short loan spell in the 2013-14 season became the exception that proved the rule. Football isn't decided on paper, it's about fit, timing, chemistry and belief. And for Cissokho at Liverpool, those didn't align. To the dismay of the cop, his performances were lampooned online almost as much as they were critiqued on the pitch. One fan-made compilation, Fever for the Flavour, Aly Cissokho's Liverpool highlights, became legendary. Not because of any spectacular moments, but because of how exquisitely mediocre and awkward some of them were. As the site Give Me Sport put it, the video was, quote, the best footballer compilation video ever, end quote. Complete with Comic Sans captions, scenes of blazing fire graphic overlays, and a tone that clearly said, this is where good on paper met the harsh light of reality. Even critics struggled to find a generous word. Metro's coverage of his move to Aston Villa called him unimpressive in his 15 Liverpool appearances, describing his style as, quote, horribly out of position and awful on the ball in certain games. Bleacher Report graded his transfer D+ for technique and understanding with the squad, while in its broader season review rated his performance as merely C, remarking that he looked distinctively average in his 6 league appearances, and that Flanagan, a youth converted right back, eventually supplanted him. Aston Villa signing him prompted mixed reactions, some bafflement, others dark amusement. One fan tweeted, quote, Aly Cissokho to Villa, what are they thinking? He couldn't pass wind or cross his legs, end quote. Another crept calling him a Frenchman who simply could not cross the ball for love nor money. Redditors didn't let him off easily either. In the thread ranking the worst Liverpool signings, among names like Balotelli, Markovic, Voronin and Aquilani, Cissokho was mentioned too. One use listed Paulson, Jovanovic and Konchesky, the horrible trio. Cissokho may not have had the exact same infamy, but for that season, he sat uncomfortably close to the echelon in fans' collective memory. Still, none of this should overshadow the fact that he did play 19 Premier League matches for Liverpool. 19 matches in arguably one of the most dramatic title-chasing campaigns the club has had. That counts for something. He trained with them, picked up on their patterns, and was trusted enough to be fielded during a season where the club was just inches away from glory. After that chapter closed, Cissokho didn't vanish. He forged a long post-Liverpool career that took him through Aston Villa, a Porto return, Olympiacos, other spells in Turkey, and eventually Thailand. Out there, in less pressurised environments, he carved out a role as a respected veteran, serving as club captain, landing promotions, even scoring pivotal goals deep into his 30s. He never stopped playing, and, it seems, loving the game. It's a real shame then that even as a loanee, he wasn't able to carve out a better legacy at Liverpool. He wasn't malicious, he wasn't lazy, he was just a miscast. Yet misfits are part of football's rich oddities. For every Markovic, Voronin, Aquilani, and yes, Cissokho, they show how a player's pedigree and the club's demands have to align almost poetically to make it work. Ultimately, Aly Cissokho's story is a nuanced one. His career looked enviable from afar, filled with big clubs, experience and professionalism, and he continued to build on that, even after Liverpool. He didn't quit, but his Anfield chapter remains incredibly disappointing. Credentials matter, but chemistry and fit can matter more. So, with all said and done, rest assured, he's still more than a punchline. He's a pro who played across continents, survived in various leagues, and gave everything he had, even when the script didn't suit him. Aly Cissokho. Great on paper, different in reality.